Can I ask you another point? Because again, you've got,
Sure.
and I mean, I don't want to be kind of driving you hither and thither. If there's some, if you want to say something yourself, that's fine too.
I like doing this.
Okay. You'll have heard very often, I'm sure, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6.
Indeed.
And now, what do you make of that? I'm curious.
So, the traditional Jewish explanation of that verse.
So I just say, unto us a son has been given, and his name shall be called Mighty God,
Right.
Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
Yeah. So first of all, there's a very obvious mistranslation in the King James Bible, and in most Christian Bibles I've looked in, which translates all of the verbs in that verse in the future tense. Some put a few of them in the present tense, and the others in the future tense.
Do you have a translation of the Bible which you think is accurate? I mean, sorry, obviously, like, I've got the JPS study Bible, right? Do you regard any Christian Bible as accurate?
I haven't found one yet.
Okay.
There's always a few verses that I'll look at in a Christian Bible to see have they mistranslated it like usual or not. And there's some verses that I have not yet found a Christian Bible that is not mistranslated. And this
Okay.
is definitely one of them.
Okay.
So the actual Hebrew in this verse, all of the verbs until the actual name itself, which has verbs as part of it, are in the past tense.
Okay.
Which is very significant.
So would this be saying, unto us a son has been given,
yeah.
unto us
Yes.
has been,
Yes.
has been, has
Yes.
been?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Right.
But then, although that's a
So
very
that's
important
first of
point
all.
because, you know,
Yeah.
we should have the verbs right.
Indeed. That's first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, our interpretation of chapters 7, 8, and 9,
Yes.
in terms of the three sons, right? Emmanuel, Mahir Son al-Khashbaz, and then there's a difference of interpretation in chapter 9 whether or not the full name is Kela Yoes Kagib Aviat Shalom or it's just Sal Shalom, which I'm going to explain the reason for that difference of opinion. But those three are all different names of the same guy, and that he is King Hezekiah.
Okay.
And these three chapters are all about him, about the person that he's supposed to be, and that he was supposed to be. And therefore, by the way, the young woman in chapter 7, verse 14, we interpret as being Ahaz's wife. So over here in chapter 9, there are two possible translations that you can say here. You could say a son has been given us.
Yeah.
A child has been born to us. A son has been given to us. An authority has settled on his shoulders. He has been named the mighty God is planning grace, the eternal Father, a peaceable ruler. That's one.
Just to go back that bit, start that, the bit with the mighty God, go on.
The mighty God is planning grace.
Yes.
The eternal Father, a peaceable ruler.
Right.
Right, that's one way of saying it. Right, the other way of saying it is a little different. And the way you say it is as follows: for a child has been born to us, a son has been given us, an authority has settled on his shoulders, and the mighty God, planner of grace, eternal Father, peaceful ruler, has named him the Prince of Peace or the peaceable ruler.
Do you not accept that a possible translation is that I would find in this RSV? He shall be called Mighty God?
Well, he shall be called is definitely on the past tense. That's for sure.
Sorry, without the tense issue.
Right.
He shall have been called Mighty God.
So personally, I actually prefer the second translation that I gave, which is where a lengthy description of God is in fact the subject of the verb calling, and that Prince of Peace or peaceable ruler, which both of them are correct translations of the words Sal Shalom, is the name of Hezekiah, is the name given to the son. And the reason why I prefer that is because of the construction of the word for the calling, the verb there, which besides being past tense is also the active, right? So the first translation I gave does have that problem because even that is in the past tense. He was called. So that would be a passive verb. That would be a different construction would be vayikore. But here the word is vayikro, which means and he called. So the problem with that is that there's no subject. If we put in the beginning of the name, right? So we say the mighty God, planner of grace, the eternal Father, the Eternal Father, that is in fact the subject of the verb, then we can say that God called his name Prince of Peace. We can say that instead. And that, I think, works better with the grammar of the verse. That's my favourite interpretation of that verse.
What matters to me is that you consider there are options for reading this, which do not include calling the individual concerned, whoever he be, mighty God, everlasting Father himself.
Yes.
If you consider there are such options, then it does not have any probative value in bringing you to a Trinitarian faith, and that's therefore no longer of any use.
Yes.
So that's just interesting though, to see how you see it from yourself.